The Los Angeles Lakers are your NBA inaugural in-season tournament champions after dispatching the Indiana Pacers 123-109. First of all, just a win for the NBA. I've said it before multiple times. I've done two videos. Well, I've done multiple videos on the in-season tournament, but this has been a success. The games have been really intense now that the players have something to play for. And really, all the NBA could have done is just say, hey, for some arbitrary reason, these games on Tuesdays and Fridays matter, and the players would have turned up for these games. But the whole Vegas thing, the tournament, the NBA Cup, the way the players played, the way young teams like the Pacers got the opportunity to put themselves on the map. Tyrese Haliburton, one of the rising, up-and-coming superstars. Yes, I said it, and I'm going to make a video on Tyrese Haliburton later. Superstars got a lot of pregame coverage before the game started. Really highlighted young and up-and-coming teams. This is going to be great in the future for different kinds of teams, but if you're the NBA and you're the NBA front office, this has been a complete win, and possibly the game's greatest player of all time, LeBron James, being the winner of the inaugural NBA in-season cup. If you're Adam Silver yourself, you just have to love the outcome. But let's talk about the game. First of all, the Lakers, the way they dialed up the defense in this game really has me intrigued for the playoffs. Steve Jones of the Dunker Spot tweeted as such, and it's such a good point because the way the Lakers mixed up their coverages on Tyrese Haliburton, had him going sideline to sideline instead of north and south, like Doc Rivers was mentioning on the broadcast. Probably the only non-cliche point Doc Rivers brought up in that game, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. They really did a good job of trapping, hedging on Haliburton's screens, playing Anthony Davis at the level. Anthony Davis was absolutely dominant on both ends of the floor in this game. Just completely wrecked the game. LeBron James also did well, but he was in foul trouble in the first half, and Austin Reaves picked up the slack with 21 first-half points. But it was Anthony Davis's offensive rebounding, the block shots, the playmaking he did when the Pacers went small and they sent extra guys in Anthony Davis's area. He was just awesome throughout the whole game. When the Lakers get Anthony Davis in the right spots on offense, when they get him in the proper spots to take advantage of matchups, you'll see more consistent offensive production scoring-wise. Anthony Davis is always going to be a dominant defensive player and a dominant rebounder, but I think where a lot of people get pissed at him is when he has these great halves and then has 2 or 5 points in the second half. And look, I think a lot of it, half of it, I don't know. I think some of it is overblown, but I get where they're coming from. This was the type of game where Anthony Davis just absolutely was the best player on the floor tonight. He was the main crux of why the Lakers were so good in all the coverages they used on Haliburton's screen and rolls. They basically were like, we're going to let everybody else beat us except for Haliburton. We're going to send a crowd at him. Buddy Hield, I've seen that Buddy Hield game before a few times with the Sacramento Kings, and that was an awful Buddy performance on both ends of the floor. Oh, and let's give some credit to Cam Reddish too, who's becoming a really nice role player for the Lakers. He did a really good job on Tyrese Haliburton on the initial point of attack defense, and then when the screen happened, they executed the coverage well. D'Angelo Russell didn't have the best game, but he was controlled in this game. Like I said, Austin Reaves was big. And then in that third quarter, LeBron James was just taking it to the rack. And that battle of the paint, that was going to be the key for the Lakers. The Pacers ended up shooting more threes than the Lakers. They shot 41 threes and the Lakers shot 13. Didn't make a three until that Taurean Prince corner three. I believe it was towards the end of the third quarter. But it was the battle of the paint. The Lakers dominated the paint. The Pacers, they are dead last in allowing opponent rim attempts. 48% of Pacers' opponent shots come at the rim. They just allow shots at the rim while they take away the three. The Lakers, conversely, don't shoot a lot of threes, and all they want to do is get to the rim. And that battle bore out in this game. The Lakers outscored the Pacers in the paint 86-44. They just completely dominated the paint. Anthony Davis had Miles Turner and Isaiah Jackson in absolute hell. Miles Turner, like I've mentioned before, a very good center until he goes up against Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis doesn't dominate Miles Turner as much as those three that I mentioned, but Anthony Davis has definitely gotten off his games against Miles Turner because Miles Turner is just not as good of a rebounder as those guys. He's a little light in the chest, a little light in the ass for those guys, as great of a shot blocker as he is. And against the mobile bigs like Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Miles Turner is in foul trouble too much to even get his offense going. And then if you're Anthony Davis, you can just easily close out on him. Anthony Davis had a few closeouts on those Miles Turner pick and pops. There was one in the corner specifically where Anthony Davis chopped his feet and didn't jump into Miles Turner, but had gotten up into his airspace and took away the corner three. And look, the Pacers were in this game for the first half, but it just felt like the Lakers were in control of the game. Even when the Pacers cut it to 2, if you just got the ball in LeBron, Austin Reaves, or Anthony Davis's hands, somewhat D'Angelo Russell too, if you were a Lakers fan, you probably felt really good about the shot you were going to get. And the Lakers, that was all she wrote. The Lakers just dominated in the paint. And for the Pacers, man, real quickly, just an unbelievable in-season tournament run. They definitely put themselves on the map. It's going to be interesting to watch the rest of the season because everybody saw this in-season tournament. Every team that was sitting at home saw this in-season tournament. The teams in the East, the way the Pacers got to the in-season tournament, beating the Sixers, and then beating Boston in the quarterfinals, and then thrashing Milwaukee in the fourth quarter to go to the finals. They definitely put themselves on the map. And maybe the Lakers gave a little roadmap to how to defend the Pacers. Because if you can execute a trapping scheme really well against these high-level, high IQ ball-handling initiators, that's the thing. You have to have the personnel to do it right, but the Lakers executed it well. And of course, LeBron James, well-deserved in-season tournament MVP. He clearly cared about this from the start. He wanted to establish a precedent, and now all the salty jokes can begin about how this championship doesn't count because it's LeBron and the Lakers, blah, blah, blah. But really dominant game by the Lakers. Dominant game from Anthony Davis, who was the MVP of this game. And overall, the product of basketball that we were watching during this whole month, well, month plus of this in-season tournament, thumbs up.